Hi, everybody. Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. Welcome to the Sunday Superman Show. I've got a couple of wonderful guests tonight with us, and another one that's here in spirit. So, tonight, let me introduce who we've brought tonight. We've got the one and only absolutely amazing Stephen Gentner. Welcome.
Thank you. I don't know what happened to the regular Steve Gentner, but I'll fill in for him.
That's awesome. And of course, we've got friend of the channel and a guy who really should get some nominations in that 0 to 5 499 category, which
He
he
will.
should not have been in this year. He should have been in my category. Mr. Nate from Hall Yeah Comics.
Thank you.
Oh,
Hello, Matt.
how are you guys been today?
It's
Really
been
good.
hot. It's over 100 degrees here in Portland.
What?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, I meant to ask you this morning. Everything okay?
Me?
Yes.
Everything's fine.
It's hot, and I heard it was hot in Portland, and
Yeah, I have central air. Of them when I spend, when you have the money that you have, one of the things that I made sure I did, and also down in our little house at the beach, I have air conditioning there as well. Actually, it's a heat pump, which works just as well down there for that. A heat pump up here, it's just when you actually have a hot day, making the compressor, the compressor just reverses direction for heating and cooling. And but I just went with a straight compressor to do that to make sure, because when it gets hot, it gets hot.
yeah, it got to I guess the equivalent of 92 degrees Fahrenheit here today.
Wow.
So I mean, I think it's hot across the continent.
It's all coming. It's coming your way. I mean,
Yeah,
it's the heat that we have, because everything goes from west to east. So what we have here is on its way to you guys. It probably will be in Indiana by tomorrow or the next day.
Great. It was like 70 degrees and overcast. It was a lovely day, actually.
Oh,
we're
listen,
getting that
70 and
tomorrow.
overcast. You're singing my song right
Yeah,
there.
it was an okay
Um,
day.
the way the weather patterns go, we're getting that probably in the next 24 hours. What you had, Nate, and then we'll get the heat again.
Yeah.
Judging by my weather, what my weather thing says. But we're not here to talk about the weather,
No, sir.
unless of course it's controlled by the Man of Steel. So before we get going completely on the Man of Steel, I just wanted to say they've released the runtime for the movie and confirmed that the runtime, including credits, is 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Wow.
So
That's
I
kinda
guess
short.
they're down to
That's
the final. I guess they're down to the final print. Doesn't look like there's going to be needs for reshoots this late, unlike the Fantastic Four movie, which I understand is being redone in the last 25 minutes. I hope that gets done in time. But
That does not augur well at
no, it
all.
really doesn't. It actually. Now, I was watching and on briefly with Biggie Shack just before this, and Bleak was saying about, like, Bleak was giving the story on how they're changing the ending because they forgot to include 3 of the 4 Fantastic Four members in the ending. That basically the ending was the Silver Surfer, Sue Richards, and Franklin Richards, and the other 3 weren't even involved. So you can't have a Fantastic Four movie without the Fantastic 3 other people. So
Um,
I'm good.
one way that you can almost always ensure or know that a movie is going to be a bust is see the number of writers in the credits. How
Right.
many writers do they have? Which meant that they had to bring in more and more and more writers to try to make sense out of it, when all they really had to do is just copy the comic that they're doing. Just copy the comic. You can even copy the dialogue and flesh it out a little bit, throw in some whiz bang and some special effects, and you have a hit. But these people try to monkey with it, and this is the whole problem. They change the costumes, they change who they are, and when the people that they're aiming at, which is us, go in there and there's no semblance to who our people are, and they say, "Why didn't you like it?" And you're going, I don't know how many other ways we can put it. Just don't screw up a good thing, that the reason you do it in the first place. Anyway,
Well, I mean, it's Hollywood today, right? And everything is all about trying to make the most money as possible. But also, I don't think that
Good
necessarily
story.
that the good story has to be done. And apparently the original FF cut was not doing well with test audiences, and that's why they're going back to it. But this again is not the Fantastic Four channel. We've got a big announcement today. I cracked my 600, so sometime this week I am going to record the video that we're going to use to give away the prize, and I'm going to hopefully do that before I go away next weekend. So keep an eye out for that one. That will actually be a recorded one. That will not be a live announcement this time. So, but that
Congrats,
will be the
Matt. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. That will end up being the video you'll have to comment on, and I kind of like the hashtag I'm coming up with. So I'm down to 3, and I'd take a poll, but then I don't want to be bound by it. So the other
Other than
thing
that, it's great. Then you're just
the other
obviously
thing
you're
that happened
decided.
today, exactly.
You know the one you want to put.
Yes, I do, and I'm probably going to do it. But I have a funny story from a show this afternoon I went to. I went to what was called the Orleans Comic and Nerd convention, similar to a friend of ours on the channel there, Chonko. But what was cool is Alan came with me, and we ran into Lau, a friend of the channel, Lau Tor, and he hung out with us all while we were there, and so we were having a grand old time. Well, we're digging through books at one place, and this guy looks up and goes, "Hey, you're Matt from Matt, and you like comics, right?" And I'm like, "Yes, hi." And
That's awesome.
I said, "This is Lau. This is Alan, the comic collector geek." Well, he goes, "I don't know who that is." As I said, he had his own channel with like lots of.
Oh.
Was like you could tell he was trying to be the nicest guy on the
Tomorrow when we go on, I'm gonna go, "Hi, this is fellow comic collectors," and I'm gonna go, who is this? Who are you?
So it was an interesting little. It's just a little tidbit because, like, you turn around, and goes, "I guess you're more famous in this area than me." I'm like, "Well, it is my area, but it's your area too." It's just,
you're like 15 minutes away. I mean, and Alan's been at it a longer.
We met the one guy who only watches me and not Alan. So
I'm sure it's more than just one, Matt. It's more than just one.
It was like
he was one of the many at the nerd place that knew it was you and not him.
Actually, you know what? I haven't been to this particular show in a few years, and it has changed. It used to be a comic only place, but now it's become one of those. There were tons of comic vendors. There were like 10 or 11 comic vendors, and it's been a long time since I've been to a show with that many different ones. But you also had the pops, the toys, and the whatever. And I kind of wish I had brought my kids, just because they would have enjoyed it. But
next time you'll know, and then you'll be able to. Are they annual or are they semi-annual?
This one is 3 times a year.
Oh, well, good.
So it won't be too bad. The next one will be in October, I believe. October, early November, and so.
Well, you'll get to get in out of the rain, and have the kids and let them put on their superhero PJs or whatever, and wander around and have fun.
That's something I hadn't seen in a show like this in a long time. There was a ton of cosplay around. There was a Zatanna, a Rogue, Phoenix, like Jean Grey. There was lots of Star Wars characters.
Always.
The 501st was there. It was like the local 501st. It was pretty cool. I got some books that I'm going to show later from the show today. They're all Superman and Superman adjacent. But before we get going, let's say hi to the chat before we get too far behind on it.
Hi to the chat.
So we've got Robbie Josephs.
Robbie.
Hello, Robbie.
The wonderful and brilliant Christina Payne.
Well done, Christina.
Big Nasty. Hi, Rich.
Hello, dear.
We've got the scoffer himself, Kay Munin.
He's not scoffing. He's congratulatory, as well he should be.
We've
Hi,
got
Chonko.
Hey, buddy.
And more. Let's see here. We've got Rob Saint. Hi, Rob.
Hello,
Welcome
Rob
to the
Saint.
show.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Comic Mike is here. Hi, Comic Mike.
Mike,
We've got Stevie D.
Steve,
He has been sending me lots of pictures he's been drawing.
me
Uh-huh.
too.
Pretty nice.
Me too.
I just got a real good one today from him.
And we've got Lyle here, who says
I
it's
don't know what 38
degrees
Celsius, what does that mean?
100. That's 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
So the West Coast is really, we're getting some heat.
Yeah, it sure looks like. We've got Thomas O'Donnell. Hi,
Mr.
Tom.
O'Donnell,
This.
We've got Dope. Hey, glad you can make it, Dope.
Dope.
And let's see here. And we've got this guy.
Oh, let him in.
they'll
I
let
don't know.
anybody in. They'll let
We've got
anybody in.
Biggie Shack.
Big.
Hi, Big.
Good to see you. And my guest on Tuesday, AG, is here.
Mr. AG, Aubrey.
How you doing?
Yep. And Christina dropping the love. And I think that may be it, but let's just double check here.
Did you get
There's
TM
a lot
nerdy?
of people say, oh, here's Lau. As I said, Lau was
Lau.
there today.
Mr. Lau, I guess TM's in there somewhere too.
Yep. Towards the bottom.
Oh, there he is. Hi, TM.
Hi, TM.
And
And we've got Greg. Hi, Greg.
Greg?
Greg.
I don't know if I've met Greg.
We've
I
got
don't know if I
Chris
have
Van Dusen.
The
What
Van
is that
Dusen.
Supergirl behind me? It is. Well, it depends which one you're talking about because I
Probably the one on the upper shelf. I think it's the upper shelf
Yeah.
because
Oh.
you can see the upper shelf.
Well, the one Matt was holding in his hand is the one he's going to send to me, I think. Because my didn't get it.
Let me just make myself big for a second. I had this one up on the. This is the one on the upper shelf there, Chris. It's the Artem Supergirl one. Oh,
Chris
let's
Van
see here.
Dusen. Now, there's a Van Duser corridor we have in Oregon, which always sounds very perilous. I wonder, some relation. I'm certain that it must be. It must be famous.
If the panel is the Superman family, who is who? Well, I'm definitely Beppo.
I was going to say, I'm Streaky the Super Cat.
Well, damn it, you took Beppo. I'll just be Prody too.
Brody too. That works.
For the substitute
got,
league of Super
Jay
Pets
Boxer.
over here.
Hi, Jason.
I like that.
And that's everybody. And apparently, I got to cover that ferret book. It's an
Yeah.
eyesore.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So basically, today we did, as I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the movie, which we've done, and the show that I went to today, which we've also done. So I'm going to invite my friend Nate to show us a couple books that he brought us tonight, and I will make him big.
If it's okay with you, I have a lot, but I'll go fast. And the reason I have a lot is I've had this for a while and I've wanted to show it. So this is a good opportunity. They're all Superman books, and I got them in one order. So I want you to guess how much I paid at the end.
Okay.
All right. So it starts here with Action 838 from 2006. And this is all kind of sequential with some chunks missing. So
Yes.
this is the 1 year later,
Right. I
and
remember that.
it just keeps going. Like this was Jeff Johns and Kurt Busiek, and I actually liked this run.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. I didn't see you. I was going pretty fast there. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the show.
These here, where they make it look like the Daily Planet.
Those
headlines.
those two there with those things are really cool, and they're going to be coming up in a video I did because they both star Livewire.
Then there's some issues that were Jeff Johns and Richard Donner written with Adam Kubert art.
Yeah, those are good
And
ones.
I like these covers. It's a good Bizarro.
Yes.
And let's see. Then I think it might jump ahead just a little. Sorry.
That's a beautiful one.
Don't be in a hurry. I don't have all that, man. I mean, I have some.
Well, this is okay. Let me put it this way. Let me get to where it goes to the next artist, and then I'll pass. Because this just does chunks. This part I wasn't as good. Fabian, I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Fabian Nietzscheeza.
That's easy for you to say.
Right? But this, I'll stop here for right now. This is Kurt Busiek, Jeff Johns. That's a great cover.
It is a beautiful cover. Great colors.
Yes.
Great cover. So this is $8.50. So I'll stop there. I've got more that are still in this same run.
Okay, Thomas says it's Nisiasa.
I've seen pronunciation guides for his name before.
I
but
blame him.
Those are. I've got more, but go ahead and get rid of me.
Are we doing 2 rounds, Mr. Matt?
We can go as long as we need to.
Okay, sounds great. I have today. I have quite a few actions I put up. Classic cover, the body transfiguration. I thought of you, Nate, when I did that. And who's this orange and black gal that's jumping down here? What's her name?
I can't see that one well enough.
Yeah, I can't see that well.
Oh, it's the one that the whatever her name is. I have the 2 with sleeves because those are so horrific. There's a Whitman right there. There's another Whitman there with the Superman car, which was ridiculous. Why does he need a supercar? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yes, Thomas is right, Vixen.
Vixen. Thanks, Thomas. We got the one where the Flash is, "Hi, Superman, how are you?" Boom, gets blasted. And then just some other nice ones. I put the Parasite out because it happened to fall in there as well in that nice annual that looks like Shoots and Dragons as far as that goes.
That's the Supergirl one, if I remember correctly.
It is indeed. It is. Yeah. It is all Uber Girl. So my what I decided to show, I have shown action, my silver and my what have you actions. And earlier, I showed my Supermans the same way. And so of the 3, generally, the next one to go is World's Finest. And so what I did was I went at nearing the end of the Golden Age, going into where it goes into the first code book of World's Finest. And a lot of these covers are generally, it's sort of a no man's land area. And in my completest zeal, and I don't have all of them, but in my completest zeal to put it together, what I did was I have gotten some of these ones, and a lot of this has been like one at a time, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, or a year or 2 will go, and then one will show up, and things like that. So I will start with World's Finest number 38.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Outstanding.
Here is World's Finest number 39.
Very nice.
And what they would do at this time is you'll notice that it has the red cross and it says give. That meant give blood and also give money. And DC was not above doing this for blood drives or muscular dystrophy or March of Dimes or any of a number of worthwhile things that they would put in, I'm assuming for free, so that to try and help all of these philanthropic organizations for helping the people, and sadly for the little kids who might have had a problem. Here is a first appearance, and this is introducing that two-fisted fighting star of the West, the Wyoming Kid.
Nice. While still having Superman, Batman, and Robin on the cover. Very
right.
Nice.
That's right. And these are still, all of these are square bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, weren't they 15 cents for a while?
They were 15 cents until I will show you when they turn into 10 centers. Yeah. They get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then they turn into 10 cents. And I have the first 10 cent World's Finest as well that I will show you.
Awesome.
Here is issue number 44, which is a beautiful red cover.
God, that's in great shape.
No, that's beautiful.
These were part of the collection, the very first collection that I got when I shifted to, I had a dealer that talked me into trading away my entire Silver Age collection, which I did. And in so doing, he had brought down with him when I started this, the world's finest was the first gold. This is 1988. No, they don't. What they did was they basically had stuff to make the covers pop off the newsstand, which was sort of it was catch as catch can, and somewhat worrisome for the industry as in this time frame. But anyway, so I got these world's finest, and the guy then had like 1 through 25, and then he says, I have others back at my place, and I can get more together. And then several collections came in, and he merged them together, and I got a whole string of the more the oddball ones. I'm going to show some of these today, but I have a whole bunch more that I'm going to save for another time, so that I don't show everything I got in one fell swoop. Thank you, Robbie. Here is issue number 45. And you always wondered about Rock'em Sock'em Robots. They used to have these in the arcades. And these are the bigger, heavier duty ones that they really would smash and crash, because the little plastic ones, they're fun as a little kid to have those, and they repop them and everything else. But the ones that were in the arcades were considerably bigger and more durable, because those things, everything in an arcade takes a hell of a beating.
I believe it.
Yep. Still square bound.
Now, this one's still 2. This is issue number 46.
Flying kites.
Yeah, that took me a minute. I was like, why are they odd shaped?
They're aliens.
Aliens. Well, Superman is for sure.
Oh, that's true.
Is he really? Okay, so then I will show one more, and then I'll save the rest for my second round. See you, Big Nasty. Here is number 47. It's just a beautiful yellow cover.
Oh, I love DC covers are so nice, especially in the early days like this. Once the anthologies got past having those titles where they were taking up half the cover, like More Fun Comics used to do, and all that stuff, they just got so pretty.
Yeah.
Now, incidentally, do you see the one right there that has the gold glowing on the receiver there? Daisy Pump, King of All BB Guns. That's the Model 25. I have 2 of those. And one of them I have has that scope that's up on top there, and the scope isn't worth a damn. It's just there are no lenses. It's just a tube with a crosshair, and you look through the tube. And it makes it easier. I think just a regular buckhorn sight is easier, like on a Winchester, but which is what they usually do. But you see, this is a takedown, and what there is right there is a big screw, and you unscrew that, and then the gun goes into 2 pieces, and then you can pack it in, whatever they say, pack it away in the luggage and take it with you. Yeah. And so that's what you do. And the way you load the thing is you at the front at the barrel, right up at the muzzle, you unscrew this thing, and there is a spring system that you pull down a little lever and you lock it, and then you feed the BBs down into there's an aperture that opens. The spring is pulled back, and then there's an aperture, and so then you load the BBs in. You got about 25 shots, and then you let the spring go, and that puts spring pressure on the mechanism, so that when you pull back on it like a pump action, you pull it back, and it accordions out like a scissor. It opens up, and when you go back like that, it loads the BB into it. Under pressure, it loads it back into where the spring aperture. And so then you can fire 25 times. And so it's a really good, and they kicked I mean, it was a pretty darn accurate smoothbore because they're not really rifles. Because they're not they have no rifling whatsoever. They're a smoothbore, and I talked about this, and that's why you would always try to buy the best BBs you could find that were completely round rather than have little blems on them. The cheaper ones would have a little blem on them. And so the handling characteristics of a ball that doesn't have any kind of spiraling, like you would need like to throw a spiral of a football, where it would make it so that the handling characteristics would be better. If you have a nice smooth bore, I had a crow that was in a bird feeder, and they basically, the crows come in, or the squirrels, but the crows would come in and they'd kick all the other little birds out, and then they would sit there, and then they would call their buddies in, and then they would all come in and eat all the food, and all the little birds wouldn't get anything. And so I basically took this 25 BB gun, and I'd actually had to have the spring replaced because after whatever from the 1940s,
Right.
the spring finally gave out. There's a place in town that repairs these things. So I sent it in. They put a new spring mechanism in. And so what I did was I shot to the right. If you get close to them, they can hear it whistle by, and then they'll fly away. They're not stupid. They're smart. They remember for 2 or 3 days anyway if anything goes wrong. And so I aimed to the right of him and I shot. And because the BB didn't come out straight, but it came out fast, it looped around and then it hit the crow dead center right here. And I killed it dead with a BB gun. And crows are not easy to kill. And I must have hit it just exactly where it would, and it just was gone. And I felt so sick about it that I really didn't like it. I am a very good shot, I have a Pell gun, and if I wanted to hit anything I can see with the scope on it, I can pretty much hit. And if it's a rat or something like that, then it's goodbye rat. Fortunately, I don't see very many of those. But squirrels and squirrels and crows and things like that, I just don't. I won't shoot them. I mean, live and let live. Rats, however, it's not live or let live. It's live or let die, because I won't sit still for rats. That's all. So anyway, I apologize for the lemon tree of death, but I will show the balance of these in the second round. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to show the books that I got today. As I said, I was at a show. I got a few books. Some of them are not Superman, probably the majority, but I did get a couple of books here. I got 6 books that are Superman related here. This is Superman First Series 201.
Nice.
I got this.
I love that cover.
Yeah. The Clark Kent walking away from Superman. It's I mean, that was done quite a bit later after this, but that was one of the first ones. So it was neat then. This is Superman 203. Apparently Superman likes to kill people. Often. So.
When Superman killed his friends.
Yes. They were just dead to him anyway. Okay. Now, this isn't a cover I know Nate will like. This is number 65 of Jimmy Olsen. When he becomes a porcupine kid.
I have that. Is that the first porcupine? Human porcupine?
I believe so, but I'd have to double check.
Yeah.
I remember that book when it came out, and everybody made jokes about that book, the things they put Jimmy Olsen through. But I have to tell you, for all the things that they did to Jimmy Olsen, they did so much better with Lois Lane, with all the poor problems that woman went through, and she deserved it too.
The next 3 were all from the Pollitt collection. They're now part of my collection. This is Lois Lane 57, the spanking cover.
Oh. You know what that one is, right, Matt?
Yeah, it's the second Herco.
Second Herco, baby.
I know. I'm very pleased to have that. And here we go. Lois Lane, number 59. See what happens when Lois time travels to Krypton before it explodes. And she courts Jor-El. Before she realizes that she becomes, Superman's dad that way. which is how the story ends, where she's like, I just realized I'd be his mom. Sorry, like.
I like it better if it was her. She was his dad. I
Yeah,
like that even better.
yeah, I know. It's the times. And this one is the first appearance of Rose and Thorn. This is Lois Lane 105, where Lois is attached to the guy going to the chair. High diabetic Superman. Glad you could make it. And sure enough, here's the space skirts. Superman blasting. I think he is. But I like this one, because it's yet another one where Lois Lane marries someone else. This girl must collect annulments like Liz Taylor collected engagement rings. Because she always seems to be getting into one
Getting
thing.
guys dead. I know she's killed several. She's
There was
almost as bad as little
guy,
Joe
the guy from the
Cartwright.
future, the guy from the future,
The alien from the alien as well.
Yeah, the alien. Then there was the one Jack the Ripper tried to come back and get her to kill her.
Right.
Like,
And then she married the devil too. Didn't she marry the devil?
Yeah, she married the devil. She just gets herself into all of these situations. Okay.
When I saw her with the cloven hoofs, I said, I knew it.
Yeah. That's a fun one, actually. I really like that story. All right. I'm going to show the last three from that run that I showed you before, just because they're freaking awesome. So, what is it? Jeff Johns and Eric Powell, the guy who draws the Goon, and it's Escape from Bizarro World. And I just really like these covers. I like his art.
Those are beautiful books, by the way.
John.
Yeah. This next one's amazing. Has the Bizarro League.
Yes. I have the first issue of the Bizarro League. That was Superman 379, I believe, where you see Yellow Lantern for the first time, and Bizarro Batman and Bizarro Aquaman. And
so I think this is 34 books that I got from a Whatnot auction, and they were doing a fill-a-box, and nobody bid on it. So I got all these books for $1 plus shipping.
Holy cow! Wow. I never would have guessed it. I never would have guessed it.
I would have never guessed that either.
I don't even think I paid $12 total, like with tax and everything. So it was, nobody was bidding on
$1 can't be that much where you are.
So Steven showed some World's Finest. So I've got a couple here. This is 147.
I saw that today and almost picked it up.
It's a funny cover. Batman's trying to get Superman to stop, and he's like, I don't care if it kills him. I've got to do it. This is something. You guys would be the ones to tell me why this one's. I see this one all the time. And it's like I don't know, a cover people like for some reason. What do you know the deal with that?
Well, it's a Neil Adams cover for one. So that off the bat is one.
That probably is the main thing about it. I don't know.
And actually, it's one of the first times Neil Adams ever did Green Arrow.
Okay.
So, but the story itself is only average. It's the typical. He replaces Batman with the robot type guy.
Yeah. Well, this one here, it's Superman's perfect crime. And he's going to throw Batman off this building. That's his master plan. And all these people are down here and they see what he's doing. Like they could have, he could have come up with something better. He's supposed to be.
Well, he's moving. No, he's moving at super speed. They just slowed him down. No, seriously. He's going at super speed, and then he's just so he can see that, and then Batman will go splat, and Batman must have thrown himself off the building because he was tired.
Bruce Wayne as Splatman.
This one cracks me up. Superman's expression as he and Batman run from these tigers. No,
hyenas?
Dogs.
What are they?
Dogs. They're running from a guy too. Why doesn't Superman fly away?
I believe he's magical based, and that's why Superman's scared.
Is he?
Magic effects are
why would Freddie Prinze be after them?
Probably because they're smuggling something.
Like
and since he's Chico.
Remember when Batman was a witch?
Yes, I have that. That's pretty hilarious.
I love this one.
I love the sign in front. They had time to actually make a sign.
Yeah.
The Bat Witch must burn, and two
Yeah.
color too. I need that
mean,
sign by this afternoon.
They were Puritans, but they believed in good signage. Action Comics, sorry, 327. I really like this cover. So it's
The
like
Three Generations. That's a
Yeah.
nice one.
so like that's Superman, Superman Jr., and
Yeah.
Superman Jr. And so Superman's always letting the grandchild get away with murder.
Oh, isn't that what grandfathers do?
It is exactly what grandfathers do. So it's kind of like it's
Hi,
funny.
Eric. Good to see you.
Eric. This one I never get tired of showing. It is Action Comics 330, the Diabolical Dr. Supernatural.
They
yes.
advertised the hell out of that book. They advertised it in all these different books. They loved that cover, and they just went, and I remember when I finally got a copy of that, even though it's I mean, I like the cover. It's not the greatest cover I've ever seen in the planet, but it's just a way cool. I like green covers a lot, but getting that. But I remember in the day that thing, no matter every of the House of Secrets, House of Mystery, all these other ones, Tomahawk, all these other ones, they all had this thing for sale.
This, like JX said, Demon Turkey, man. It's supposed to be. He calls it his execution buzzard, but it's just one of the dangest things I've ever seen.
Execution Buzzard.
Execution Buzzard.
Doesn't that sound like a band name?
It is a good cover, and it's got Supergirl on it, and I'm about that. And so is this one. This is a good cover. With, of course, this is Superwoman, not Supergirl.
Yes, another one that I saw today, but I have already got it. But it's actually the copy I seen would have been a 9.0.
Oh wow,
It was really good.
This one is not. This one is like found this in a bin.
But that is a funny story because you remember how Superboy ends up in jail?
No, I don't know if I've read that one yet.
Ugh.
Don't spoil it, man.
Oh, sorry.
The last one I'm going to show.
A 70-year-old book.
Yeah, this one I didn't know I had, and this cover, like when I saw this, I'm like, I'm putting this next to my bed because it's hilarious. Action Comics 357, Superman against the toughest kids in the world in the Kryptonite Rumble. He's being accosted by a 50s, bad boy gang called the Skulls. They're armed with kryptonite. It's like West Side Story, but with Superman versus the Sharks.
When you're a skull all the way from your first cigarette to your last.
Nobody messes with the Skulls, Mr. Superman. We're gonna
I
mess
know
you
I'm
up.
doing the Warriors, but it's that sort of thing.
That's what I mean. I've got more, but that's enough.
No,
Save it for the next Superman show, I say.
Okay. I was looking at this. I was looking at my ring, Matt, and I don't know if you noticed, but on the back, where the two pieces, there are two stamps on the arms of it. And I was trying to read, I put my cheaters on, I was trying to see what it says. It doesn't appear to say anything. But they sure took there's all manner of writing on the inside. All the trademark DC, blah, 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 this really long code number and all this other stuff, like for a plastic ring. Okay. Yeah. I like, this is a robot cover. This is World's Finest Comics number 49.
It does say that, JX.
Oh, wow.
I just looked myself. Oh, nice. Is that Tom Sparks?
Tis.
Oh.
Introducing a brand new hero.
Yeah, he didn't last
know who
very
Tom
long.
Sparks is.
And I would, if my mother took me to Tom McCann's and tried to buy me these fruit boots with the little ring on the front up there, I'd get beat to death at school if I wore these shoes like this to school. I mean, I don't even mean maybe. They said, "Hey, Gentner, what happened?" I said, Mom said that I was gonna come on, guys, let's get him. No.
Hi, Susie.
The Skulls would have been all over you, Steven. Get him.
in
He's
a heartbeat. Get him!
he's wearing roundups. Go get him.
Look at that.
Round
That's
up.
the guy with the fruit boots.
Which is hilarious because if you say Roundup in Canada, it's a burger at a burger, like it's a special type of
I
burger.
thought it was a weed killer that you used.
No, there's also a Texas Angus Roundup burger at a burger chain named Harvey's in Canada.
Here is World's Finest. This we're getting right near the end here. This is number 70. Is this out of order? It is out of order. Just a second. Yeah, this one's out of order. Just a second here. 68 set. Yeah, that's the way it should go right there. So we also wanted to make sure that we offend or acknowledge our Native American friends. This is World's Finest. Now, they're not square bound now, but they're 68 pages. You know, remember the 52 pagers that were just really thick, folded over? Well, this is a 68 folded over cover.
Dang.
May, June, this is number 58, starring Superman, Batman, Wyoming Kid, Green Arrow, and Tom Sparks. And they got them engines to make a totem pole that has them.
That's a cool cover.
Now, is that cultural appropriation?
I would say so, but you know what?
No, they're doing they must have saved
Well-
Running Brave and Little White Cloud or whatever from the.
Well, it would be appropriation if they were dressed up. So I
Yeah,
would
they're
say
they're honoring
no.
them with
Yeah.
they're honoring them with a totem pole.
That's hilarious.
That's
Tom.
it. Down I go. Break all my teeth out on the blacktop, and then
Hey,
the
you
kids
should've
would
worn
be
your
on
high
me.
wall
The
champs.
kids would be on me with the dodgeballs, and they would just destroy me. Here's some more
And we
fruit
got
boots to
Bleeker
wear.
in the house. Hi, Bleak.
Hi, Bleak. Tom McCann. Oh, they're lovely. And I got to get me the Tom McCann shoehorn or a shoe tree, too. Here we go. This is a beautiful pink cover. And this one seems more... This is still a foldover, but they give the approximation of a square bound. This is issue number 59. Superman, Batman, Robin, Wyoming Kid, Green Arrow, and Manhunters. Now, is this 59? I think this may be out of order, too. Is it? 59? No, that's 58, 59. So Tom Sparks has been usurped by the Manhunters. Let's see what the Manhunters look like. I can't even remember what they look like.
Very nice.
Tom O'Hawk, Tom McCann, with the fruity slippers. I got rid of the other ones. Why do you hate me so much? Get 'em. Oh, it's a Joker story in here.
Well, yeah, they're still in solo stories at this point, right? So
This book is from, and I will tell you the year because I got it here, July, August of 1952.
very nice.
Wow.
Don't forget Buzzy's in the corner there.
It's look at that. It said Buzzy scoffs.
Yes, it does. Where are the Manhunters? Let me see what they look like. Well, there's the Wyoming Kid. He's shooting people with guns. I like it.
And apparently a broken beaten Steppo comes back with the daisy and takes out the skulls one by one.
Look at this splash page for the Wyoming Kid. Isn't that great?
That is busy.
That's good.
Holy, that's very detailed and awesome.
Look at this in-house ad. The oldest symbol in comics and your guarantee of the best in comics reading.
I would agree.
With Mutt and Jeff and Bud Fisher. I'm not so
Yep.
sure. I wasn't a big fan of Mutt and Jeff.
No one was.
Mhm.
But that's before the superheroes. Who are the Manhunters here? Let me see here. Here we go. The Manhunters around the world. When Detective Inspector Jack Woodward's 10-year search for Blip Halloway, notorious counterfeiter, ended in a little flat in Savoy Square, London. He marked the case closed, but before long the name of the Holloway was to crop up again in a remote corner of the world, and Woodward was to get the chance to join forces with those far-famed, hard-riding police that patrol the interior areas of Australasia. And the officials known as the bush trackers. They're going to track all those bushes down, ladies and gentlemen.
The Manhunters.
Incidentally, these are the PF Flyers ad. Do you know what PF stands for?
Oh,
Posture Foundation. Yep. The action wedge. The action wedge was just to give you a little lift in the back. I had PF Flyers. I liked them, but I was more so into the Red Ball Jets and also into the kids. Scoff. Here's issue number 60 with the cast of characters that you've come to know and love. And it's got the babes and they're surfing.
That's hashtag Batman likes hot chicks.
Yeah, Superman got a raw deal in this one.
Oh, he's happy. He's happy.
Robin and I want sexy ladies to ride us. You pull this.
That is when, of course, Superman jumps the shark, and the stories are not the same anymore.
Right? Remember, Ralph Mouth never looked at him the same way.
Yes. Well, you know what? Actually, Alan found a bunch of Happy Days comics from Gold Key today at the show, and he started saying, "I've got this, I've got this," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I didn't even know Happy Days had a comic book.
Oh yeah.
Can you guess the answer to this puzzling picture?
Nope.
Nope. See the end of the Superman story for the answer. Do you want me to tell you what the secret is, or no? Okay, no. And then, of course, on the back, we got another Red Rider. This is the carbine. They had just basically pop guns, too. And with a pop gun, what you would do is you'd find some sort of semi-wet mud, and you'd cock the gun, and then TM says, yes, please. Then you jam the barrel of the gun down into the dirt, and then when you would fire the pop gun, then it would shoot the dirt.
JX,
because it's
Alan
all
is
about
everything but a laptop. Poor guy.
Sir Batman and the Black Knight is the backup story.
Yes, that's been reprinted a couple of times.
Yeah.
I've read that before in other sources. I think it was in one of the 80-page giants.
Okay, let's get to Superman. Wild Root hair tonic. Super Sleuth Mr. Fooey. Really screwy looking guy. Really sharp edges on him. So that's so 1930s.
Yeah.
I mean, that really is 1930s badness.
Apparently the crowd wants to know. Tell us what the secret of the Superman chorus.
I'm going as fast as I can. Here's the Green Arrow. Splash, the Black Magician. Very cool. Okay. The answer is simple. If you remember that Superman can move so fast that he can seem to be in 3 places at the same time. That's the secret. If you think about it.
Yeah. It feels a little drink your Ovaltine to me, but I'll take it.
Well, if everyone says, "Well, what's the point here? What are you trying to do?" I have to be careful with this one. It's pretty chewed up. These are hard to get. I mean, even in rough shape, these are hard to get. Here is issue number 65.
Very nice.
Obviously, May 11th. It was May 12th. So this is May 12th, and we got all the screwballs in the back. 770. Mommy, I want this one with the cool shoes. And it says, you kept getting beat. I can't afford all the doctor's bills for you getting beat up. What year is this?
Ladies and gentlemen, we now know how he got the nickname Steppo.
They stepped on me. July, August 1953. So, but this is from May 12th of 1953, and I was not yet. I was not yet a thing. I'll put those away later. Here is issue 69. Excuse me, 68. And they're running out of ideas. They're running from a skunk.
Well, that stinks.
That's ridiculous. I love this.
Can you imagine Superman with the super smell?
Well, just use your super breath, freeze breath, and freeze that little sucker, the little popsicle, and put him out in the woods somewhere. These are actually quite difficult to find. These books. It was when things were going from bad to worse. Here's issue 70. This is 68 pages. This is the last Golden Age style book. That is to say, that wasn't the standard 36-page comic book. And they've still run out of ideas. They're going to go to a shoe shine shop. Sally sitting in a shoe shine shop. While she shines, you've heard it. Okay.
I mean,
Yes.
Robin is wearing felt booties. Those don't need shined.
Yeah, and if the guy doesn't do it, they're going to give him black, brown, or white, and all of them, they're red, green, and blue. And they're going, it's so funny, we've got enough time to screw with some shoe shine guy. Hey,
Poor
what
guys.
do you want to do today, guys? Hey, let's go down and screw with the shoe shine guy.
He's just trying to go to work, you know?
I know.
There's Tootsie Pop. Now, you probably, Tootsie Roll and Tootsie Pops are still around, but the Tootsie Fudge is gone. They didn't have. I tried the Tootsie Fudge, and it wasn't that bad actually. And they had three different flavors. There are the sort of a standard caramel. There was a fudge, and then there was one that was it was sort of halfway in between. There was chocolate fudge and regular fudge. Things are different back then. So this one, here is the very first 10-cent World's Finest comic book in the new configuration.
And this is 71, right?
That is correct.
The first time they starred together in a story in World's Finest, and second time overall.
And they exchanged their secret identities. You know how it happens? Lois Lane, they're on a yacht. And Lois Lane gets in trouble, and Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent had to share a cabin together. And so it was dark, and so both of them start taking their clothes off so that they can, they hear that they're both taking their clothes off for some nefarious reason of some sort. This is, I'm going to go to bed now, Clark. Okay, Bruce. And then they both hear that Lois is crying out for help, like is what she always does. And so then they both start to put their costumes on, and then there's a lightning flash, and then they both see each other with their wangs hanging out and their costumes. And they say, my God, you're Superman. He says, my God, you're Batman. And that's how they find out. We'll talk about it later. But I think that was actually Superman 76 was that story. Matter of fact, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, that was Superman 76. 71 was the second one, and it was a Gotham City story, I believe.
That's right. It's different. Yeah, it's Superman 76 with I'll help Lois. No, I'll help Lois.
Yeah.
And then this beautiful cover. Love this one. And they're going to go in an adventure together to take on Fort Crime.
Fort
Subtle.
Crime. Fort Crime, yes. Just like in Batman 327, when they're in the criminal headquarters. That's what they called it.
Here is, I think, one of the first. Now, I don't have 73 through 76 of World's Finest. I don't have them. I never had a chance to buy them. The next one I have is an early code because you can look at the stamp. But this is number 77, the Super Batman. Don't bother, Superman. Batman is taking care of that fire.
Well, that's a load of guano.
Guano?
Guano. It's from Batman.
Guano. Here is issue 78. And
George Schwartz is as big as. Oh my God!
attention, everybody. Here comes our third guest of honor, Superman, otherwise known as Clark Kent. But nobody knows Superman's secret identity except Robin and me.
And Superman, and Supergirl, and the Legion of
Justice League,
Superheroes.
the Justice League of America.
Yeah. Although I don't think any of those other organizations exist yet.
Now we don't want to offend. We don't want to offend people over in Marrakesh or whatever. But now we have the Three Magicians of Baghdad, and this orange bizarre cover. Effendi, it is a flying carpet with Superman.
Yes, Ma and Pa Kent, that's true. The Phantom Zone villains know he's Clark Kent.
Everybody in Kandor knows who he is.
Yes.
Everybody in Kandor. I've got two more, and they're both the same. What do you know? This is issue 89. I have two. And it is the Club of Heroes featuring Superman and Batman. Somehow our new hero, Lightning Man, must be causing a mysterious effect on Superman. We've got to stop him.
That's not Lightning Man.
There's your Lightning Man, the Club of Heroes in one adventure together. The Club of Heroes.
Wow.
I really do like this. Is that the Scarlet Pimpernel back there?
The swashbuckler.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is D'Artagnan, and they all have their masks on. You cannot tell who they are.
That looks like, I know that it's not, but from here, that looks like IG-88 in the background.
It does.
Let's see who Lightning Man is.
I'm guessing it's not Garth Rands.
Garth Rands.
First of
And
all,
what was their planet? What was the planet, Matt?
pick your pronunciation, winneth or whineth. I've heard both.
For which planet is he from?
Winath or Wynath.
Lightning
your-
Lad?
Yeah, pick your pronunciation. I've heard both. They pronounce it Winath on the Legion of Superheroes cartoon and Wynath in Smallville. So
This is a beautiful ad that were in a lot of these really early books.
yeah, Irish. Somebody already said it. Good old Ira.
Irish Snap.
Irish Snap. He just did a wonderful job.
Irish Snap, you're driving me crazy. We got your Green Arrow. The Strange Circus of Mr. Sinestro. Sinestro. He must have a good name for if he's going to be Sinestro. What we got here? This is great stuff inside these books. You get a lot of stuff.
World's Finest as a title was one of the best anthology titles ever because it stayed anthology longer than a lot of these other books. Action Comics in the 70s once in a while had backup features, same with Detective, but World's Finest had backup features right through till issue 290, the one with the Legion in it, the composite Superman. I want to say were the last ones. So I want to say 284, but I'm not sure exactly. After that, there were no more backup features. It was just Superman, Batman.
Okay. So we've got this guy is, I think that Superman, there's something or another, there's kryptonite coming, and so then there's somehow this and that and whatever. Superman blacks out, then he turns into Schmidlap Man. Let me show you the splash because it's probably cool.
That is a cool splash page.
And this one is from 1957, July, August of 1957. So next time that I revisit World's Finest, I will start with issue number 90.
Awesome.
Okay.
World's Finest is one of the best. The one thing I like about DC is, I mean, Marvel had some interesting anthologies, but DC had the big seven, and then All American threw in another four. So you had, or sorry, five. So you had 12 big anthology titles from the DC group of companies until at least 1949, 50. You know, and all of them were great. You had so many great characters introduced in them, whether Superman, Batman, you know, Doctor, just about every major character showed up in one of the anthologies, whether it's Wonder Woman and All Star Comics or Flash and Hawkman and Flash Comics.
Comic Cavalcade.
Comic Cap. Well, that was the number 12. That was
Fun?
the one.
Was Fun one of them?
More
More
fun.
fun.
More Fun. That's it.
But
Yeah.
I don't have. Someone was asking about More Fun. I have maybe one or two More Funs near the very end. I have one that has, I think, one of the first appearances of Clover and Dover, which is anathema to me. Clover and Dover, Winky, Blinky, and Naughty, Percival Pop, basically getting in the way of the Spectre trying to do his job. Are you? I mean, this is wrong. It's just wrong. Get rid of those guys. Doiby Dickles. I never liked that guy.
No, I
Let
know.
let Green Lantern be Green Lantern, and every time he's got a
same with that woozy character in Plastic Man.
woozy winks with
Woozy
Plastic
winks,
Man.
yeah.
But Plastic Man was always with one eye closed and tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
That's the way. And I don't like satire. I prefer straight white bread. Go get the bad guy, defeat the bad guy. Good has prevailed. I'm old school on that. And this sort of they get away all the time or whatever like that, or maybe not or whatever. But they defeat them. This thing where the guys later on, like later in the 60s and early in the 70s, it was when the heroes didn't work. Yes, school is out. School's out for summer.
For the summer, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steppo Cooper.
Mr. Matt, do you have any more?
Well, I've got a couple that I can show real quick, and then we'll head on out. We're getting pretty late here for me too, especially. I pulled random
Not for
stuff
me.
before I went to the show. I pulled out random stuff to show tonight, and that's why the random edition is the name of this one stuff. Basically, I just grabbed a book that I know had Superman comics in it and literally put my hand in and went like this, and out came these. This is Superman 152 from Volume 2. These are all this is all in a row, so it's all Volume 2. And it's called The Furious Superman. It's just a really cool cover. He's fighting some guys that came at him from nowhere. Another typical, another one of those faceless groups that come out and go. And here he's fighting Imperiex. This is 153. Imperiex was an attempt at having a nice, strong alien character, but you know, when you've already got Mongol and a few others, I don't think you really need many more. This one is, by the way, these are all 2000 books, as in the year 2000. This is 154, For Truth, for Justice, Forever, where basically Superman in this book has a bit of, you know, an epiphany at some point, and why he's doubting himself again and feels better, and followed up by him going to Smallville and hanging out with Connor Kent. This is 155. Cool. Here is a cool one. Superman versus the Parasite. And followed by Superman versus Lois Lane, who's been taken over by the Parasite.
Nice hair.
Yeah. And
Ed McGuinness.
This is a this one here. Do you remember the what was the name of the movie where they had to shrink the machine and go in the human body? Journey.
Incredible.
Fantastic Voyage.
Voyage. Well, this is basically that plot. This one here is 158. Superman's got some kryptonite poisoning, and Connor and Supergirl have to get in and save his ass by going in to remove the kryptonite. Here we've got Kyle Rayner fighting with Superman out in space. It's a really cool story. This is 159. This is like
looks like he's fighting the Red Hulk.
yeah, it is a red, big red person, but he's fighting Maxima, and because Maxima's fighting Kyle Rayner right there, and this is one of Maxima's. I'm pissed off at Superman, so I'm hiring you.
Go beat up that guy I like.
Funny how I want to marry him, but he won't marry me, so I'm going to beat the crap out of him. And the next two books were from Emperor Joker. This is that was a storyline where Mxyzptlk's powers end up with the Joker, and the Joker absolutely, completely is the Joker and screws up reality so much. There is a trade paperback that collects them all. There's 10 books in total in this storyline, and it is so wacky. And it ends because the Joker cannot get over, of all things. One of the parts of this book was that he has Batman tortured every day, similar to the way that Prometheus was, where he has his liver eaten every day.
Oh,
and
yeah.
comes back. Well, only in this case, he has him killed with different methods each time, whatever floats his boat.
Sounds like that Doctor Strange story.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the Emperor Joker ends when Superman is able to convince the Joker that he can never live without Batman, so he might as well end this crap. And the Joker then willingly gives up Mxyzptlk's powers. It's kind of interesting. And this is the last one I'm going to show tonight. This is Superman 162, where Lex Luthor has decided to run for president. It's even got the little Lex for USA 2000 here. So in the corner, vote Lex 2000. So and this is getting close to the end of the Triangle era, because the Triangle era only goes 6 issues into 2001. And this is number 43 of 2000.
Mr. Matt, I have just one more to show.
I will be happy to let you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this book that I'm about to show you is the first comic book I ever remember getting at the newsstand at the hotel on a Sunday when we would go after church. We had a hotel and we had a restaurant, and then the restaurant had a newsstand. And my father let us go and pick out a comic book. That's where I was getting all the comic books. We would go after church. We would go down to the hotel for breakfast at the restaurant there at the hotel. Dad worked the whole time. I mean, he was always making notes and all that other stuff. And we were in places always really, really busy. But this is the first book that I remember. And this is it.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
Matt Might and Mxyzptlk. Very impressive.
Wow.
Good first book.
And the story, I won't spoil it. The story is it burned into the end. I read it so many times. And this this book came out. This is from November of 1960, which meant that it probably would have been like in September of 1960, which would have meant in 1960, that was when I had just turned 7 years old, was when I got this book. And in this book is an ad for Justice League of America #1.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That gives you some idea of how long I've been at this. But this was the very first book I remember. And then, of course, in 1964, 64 going into 65, was when my mother threw all the books that I had accumulated from 1960, 1959, 1960, all the way up to 64. All of those books were thrown out by her. And then I had to start. I started over I had to start to rebuild my collection. And of course, when you're a little kid, I'm only 11 when she did that. So, but it's all right. I mean, mother hated clutter. I've told the story, but this is And of course, this ad that you've seen 8 million gazillion times,
Mhm.
American Specialty Company, win all these prizes.
It's a
But
very nice thing to say.
this one here, it's just a great story. And Mieczysław is trying to say that Superman's better, and Batmite, has this hero worship of Batman and tries to help, and then he makes it harder for Batman to figure out how to win, and he's nothing but trouble, and then I'll be back, and all this other stuff. But they basically commingled stories and characters from the Batman family of characters, along with all the characters of the Superman story
Yeah,
family.
I loved it.
And so that you would basically get characters from either side then tangling with the other hero, causing problems. And then they say, hey, Bruce, I got a problem with this. Or he says, hey, Clark, I got a real problem with one of your guys is here in Gotham causing problems. I'll be right there. So, but anyway, this is really one of the a touchstone for me with comic books.
Very cool, Stephen.
Very cool.
I
man.
really appreciate one of the things I like about the seeing what other people have when it comes to comic books is you get a look at an insight into what that person likes, and generally speaking, that is always a good thing to do because you get a chance to know a person better as a result. Like, oh, this person likes this character. That's really cool. It gives you something to talk about. It gives you something that you can say, I learned this about this person. And to me, it's a positive thing because, I mean, you may think the character sucks, but the person doesn't suck for liking them. So, I mean,
Right.
at least
Yeah.
for me, I can separate the character from the people that way.
We were 4 or 5 years into the code when I started to become sentient to read comics. That's all I knew. So when everyone says, well, the code came in and it killed it, to me, the code was wonderful because three things happened. And then I'm going to say goodnight. Three things happened. The first thing that happened is that the stories were all cleaned up and very, very family friendly. Number two, it required that the artwork had to be better and more and cleaner as far as what they were trying to portray. And number three, all of the plots were that good defeated evil, and that they had to come up with more innovative ways to tell stories, because if you don't have blood and sex and violence and bloodletting and all these other things that things, scary stuff, you couldn't have any of that stuff. And so they had to write all these ones. And so when I figured out what the golden age was, after having cut my teeth on all that basically white bread in the DC, and because it was all in 1960, there weren't no Marvel. It was all right. DC was everything, and that's what it is. And then Marvel kind of creeped in and then fouled up the nest. But anyway, here we go. That's what happened. Here ends the lesson. Sorry.
I want to say thank you very much to Nate and Stephen for joining me tonight. You two are big fans of parts of the Superman mythos, not necessarily of the man himself, but I know
you always say that about me, man. I have so much Superman. I promise.
I got Superman coming out of my eyes.
I know. Superman is a wonderful. Thank you, Son of Crom.
Yeah, very nice of you.
Very nice.
Well I really appreciate that.
That dude is awesome.
He is the best. He's one of the
best.
Is. He really is. No, but I say that because Nate, you really love Lois Lane. That's why
I do. I love ridiculous stories. So anything Silver Age DC that is ridiculous, I'm into, and Lois does it better than almost any other Silver Age book.
They had so much fun with her.
Yeah.
What are we going to do to her this month?
Yeah,
I got an idea.
Jimmy Olsen. I find that like, oh, this guy isn't getting beat up enough. Let's make Lucy Lane hate him again. Let's let Superman beat him up or something, Let's put him in, and he gets caught in a time warp and become a musketeer in some other country, that kind of thing. All these things happen. Jimmy Olsen brings hamburgers and fries to Krypton. I don't know how. There's no beef and potatoes on Krypton that I'm aware of, but
a lot of Jimmy Olsen is unrequited love all the time. With Lois, it's unrequited love. And with Jimmy Olsen, it was Unrequited Love. And I don't know why. And they beat you to death with that through the Silver Age.
Yeah, I think it's the way that they could like make kids that were reading it feel grown up, that they were reading about, relationships like that.
Yeah.
But the other thing they did with Jimmy that was different that I liked was he was always kind of like in trouble at work too. Like,
Yeah.
Perry White's like, your pictures look like crap, Olsen, get out there. And he's, oh, geez, man. And so he'd go out, and then of course he'd, something terrible would happen to him.
Yeah,
and Superman would have to come save him.
There was, and so Stan Lee looked at Jimmy Olsen. He says, maybe we should make Spider-Man a photographer and have him get yelled all the time by J. Jonah Jameson,
right.
AKA Perry White. Oh, right. Marvel was the house of ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got an idea. I'm going to steal that book.
That's what I'm going to do.
The story about Mort Weisinger, right? Where he would go to this neighborhood kids and ask, what do you want to see in Superman comics? And that's where he gets a lot of the ideas to give to the writers were from. So that in a way is like, oh, we'd love to see Lois get the snot, taken down a notch or whatever.
She was unpleasant. She was mean to him. I love you, I hate you, I want to marry you, I want to kill you.
Yeah.
I always, speaking of Lucy Lane, one of my favorite stories with Lucy Lane was when the girls in the Legion decided to try and help him out because they think Jimmy's such a nice
guy. Great one.
And she had fallen asleep and didn't see a damn thing.
Right. They're all fawning over Jimmy, making out with him like, Lucy's going to hate this. She sleeps through the whole thing. But you know what? Jimmy got to make out with a bunch of Legion chicks.
Hey, Jimmy came out of that just fine. Thank you.
Exactly.
I mean, he didn't get any further with Lucy, but he got further.
Well, I'll tell you, the part that they had to cut out was the part with Triplicate Girl.
Oh, I'll bet you that girl was into it. Was
getting a little blue.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris. Well, thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope everybody in the crowd has had a good time. I really, really enjoyed myself. It's been a wonderful day all around. I really appreciate all the people out there who have subscribed to get me to where we are. I will have a video up on Wednesday on what to do on how to win the contest, and I will have a draw 2 weeks after that. I will go on a live stream and do a draw. I don't know who's going to join me yet. I haven't given it that much thought yet. But we will have some sort of live stream. We'll have some fun. We'll have some awesome books. And if you're watching this on the rewind, as I said, keep an eye out for that video. Everybody, there'll be a hashtag that'll be required. You'll have to be a subscriber, but I will not put a limit. Anybody can win from any country. We'll figure it out. In the meantime, there will be 5 prizes when we do it. So in that video on Wednesday, I'll also show the prize packages available, and we're going to have a grand old time. My name is
Matt. Well done.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Good night, everybody.
See you, everybody.